You can feel it starting, the heat in your chest, the narrowing of vision. Your hands are shaking, not from fear, from restraint. You've eaten the mushrooms. You've starved for 36 hours. You've stood in cold water until your body stopped feeling cold. All of this is preparation. In 3 minutes, you will charge a shield wall of 200 armed men, alone. You won't feel the wounds until it's over. If it's ever over, you are a berserker. And right now, you are the most dangerous thing alive. They call you Berserker, maybe Bear Shirt, maybe Bear Shirt. Either way, the meaning is close enough to truth. You are the man sent where armor stops helping and terror begins doing its own work. In the sagas, men like you belong to Odin. Not ordinary fighters, but creatures standing half inside religion and half inside war. Stories say berserkers bit their shields, howled like wolves, fought without armor, and moved through iron and fire as if pain had been outlawed from their bodies. That is how people describe you afterward, when they need your existence to make sense. But the truth is uglier and more useful. You are not invincible. You are simply built or broken in a way that lets other men point you at danger and call the result glory. In war, that looks sacred. In peace, it looks like a problem no hall knows where to seat. You do not apply to become this. Nobody advertises for men who can barely live among other men. You are noticed. A jarl sees the way you do not flinch during pain that bends others. An older fighter sees how quickly anger reaches your hands. A priest or seer sees something in you that can be named divine if spoken gently enough. Then training begins, though training is not quite the right word. It is more like controlled damage, fasting until hunger becomes hallucination, sleep deprivation until thought turns slippery, cold water long enough for your body to stop arguing with the cold and simply endure it, drumming, chanting, isolation. The mushroom comes sometimes, maybe not always, but often enough to matter. Whether it is the main cause or just one tool in a larger ritual, it pushes you further from the ordinary edges of yourself. By the time the trance can be summoned reliably, you are no longer fully a warrior being prepared for battle. You are battle being prepared for a body. The first time the state takes hold completely, it terrifies even the men who wanted it from you. Your pupils widen, your jaw locks, breath becomes an animal rhythm, sounds separate from meaning. Faces become shapes, distance collapses, pain loses its ordinary authority. You can still see, but you are no longer interpreting the world at human speed. You are moving through it as if every threat has already become personal. The older warriors watch carefully because a berserker entering the trance is useful only if the rage points forward. If it turns sideways, the hall gets its own blood price. That is the central contradiction of your life. Everyone praises what you become once it can be aimed. Nobody loves what it is the rest of the time. When the state ends, it leaves you shaking, emptied out, nauseous, half blind with exhaustion, and sometimes frightened by your own memory. The rage feels infinite going in. Coming out of it feels like being dropped from a great height, back into the smallness of a single body. In battle, the shield wall is the problem every clever man tries to solve, and every dead man failed to solve before you. Overlapping shields, spears pushing through gaps, discipline held together by fear, loyalty, and the knowledge that turning away exposes the men beside you. A shield wall is not just a formation. It is a shared refusal to panic. Your role is to break that refusal. You charge before the others because your body has become a weapon meant for psychology as much as flesh. The screaming matters. The speed matters. The fact that you appear not to care whether you live matters most of all. Men can hold against steel. It is harder to hold against a human being who seems to have stepped outside the normal laws of pain. So you run straight at the wall, axe high, teeth bare, every lesson of ordinary self-preservation burned out of you on purpose. Behind you, your side waits for the first crack. You are not the army. You are the hammer blow that hopes to create one opening big enough for the army to become useful. It works often enough to make the cost seem worthwhile to everyone, except the man paying it. You hit the line. Wood splinters. Someone loses nerve a fraction of a second before someone else loses teeth. A spear enters your side, and you do not register it, not because the wound is small, but because the state has moved pain somewhere farther away for later. A sword cuts your forearm, and the arm keeps working. Blood runs into your grip. Your shoulders feel impossibly strong. For a few moments, you become exactly what the stories promised. More force than person, but stories always end before the body sends its bill. After the fight comes the collapse. Tremors, vomiting, weakness so complete you can barely lift a cup. Sometimes you sleep a full day. Sometimes you wake convinced the battle never ended. Other men celebrate victory with drink and laughter. You experience victory the way a smashed door experiences being useful. The charge is glorious, mainly to people who do not have to come down from it. Peace is where your curse becomes unmistakable. On a raid or in a battle, men call you chosen. In a mead hall, they move their cups when you pass. Historical memory treats berserkers as elite, but elite is not the same as trusted. You are prone to challenge, to insult, to sudden eruptions when honor feels touched, or when your mind misreads a look as a threat. People laugh near you carefully. Young men boast less when you are in earshot. Jarls rely on you, yet keep you at a distance from their daughters, their negotiations, their sleep. Law codes eventually name behavior like yours as something peacetime cannot tolerate. That is the real tragedy. The same quality that makes you priceless in war makes you socially poisonous everywhere else. You are invited when blades need using, then quietly excluded once benches are filled and songs begin. After a raid, the others divide silver, trade stories, embrace, and plan marriages. You sit outside with your hands still shaking, listening to joy through wood like a man exiled from ordinary human temperature. You begin to understand that men do not fear your death nearly as much as they fear your survival. A dead berserker becomes song. A living one must be managed. Younger boys admire you because they have seen only the charge, not the hours after. Older warriors respect you but keep their respect at spear length. Even your jarl speaks to you the way a good handler speaks to a dangerous animal. Calm voice, measured distance, no sudden surprises. He has invested in making you into this thing. That does not mean he wants to share a quiet winter with you. The line between sacred and unstable is thin in every age. Men solve that discomfort by calling you touched by gods when they need you, then calling you difficult when the same transformation lingers into ordinary life. You live in the space between those two descriptions. Never fully human to the people who benefit most from your usefulness. The raid on the settlement goes as planned. The shield wall breaks. You move through it. You are the storm. You don't count wounds. You don't count men. Then, through the noise, a sound. Familiar. You turn. It's the voice of your younger brother. He joined the raid without telling you. He's 16. He wanted to fight beside you. He has a sword in his hand and wonder in his eyes. He calls your name, but you are not yourself, not fully. And the state doesn't know the difference between an enemy and a child with a sword. You take one step toward him before you understand what you're doing. You stop. You plant the axe in the ground. You close your eyes. You are fighting harder now than you have fought all day. And this is the battle you might lose. Everything in you is still moving toward violence. That is the horror of the moment. Not confusion, not hesitation, direction. Your body has already chosen before your mind finishes recognizing who stands in front of you. Your brother sees only a legend turning toward him. You feel something worse. The machinery behind the legend still working perfectly. Around you, battle continues in fragments. Shields slamming, boots in mud, men shouting to gods they only half believe in. Yet inside that noise there is one impossible task. Remain still. Every instinct forged by ritual, hunger, cold, and blood says close the distance and finish what is in front of you. So you fight the oldest enemy you have ever had. Momentum, not the enemy's momentum, your own. When you plant the axe in the dirt, it is not surrender. It is the first act of mastery anyone ever demanded from you that was harder than rage. The men who taught you to become a weapon never taught you this part. How to stop before the weapon claims what little life has not yet been taken from you. Long after your age ends, people will keep arguing about what you really were. Drugged, trained, ritualized, mentally ill, spiritually transformed? The answer matters to scholars because scholars live in safety and can separate causes from consequences. Your world cannot. Your world only cares that the state is real, effective, and expensive. The word berserk will outlive you by centuries because societies never stop inventing versions of your condition. Every culture seems to produce the same figure eventually. The warrior who can go further than others into violence and comes back less completely each time. That is why your story survives, not because it is admirable in some simple way, but because it captures an ancient human temptation to worship the man who can become unstoppable without asking carefully enough what remains of him afterward. Odin made you a weapon. The Jarl used you as one. You were the thing they sent first, and the thing they kept furthest away when the blood was cleaned up. You felt no pain in battle. You felt everything else in every other moment. The price of being unstoppable is that you can never fully stop. And the bravest thing you ever did wasn't the charge into the shield wall. It was the moment you planted the axe and didn't take another step.